Bum 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 bum. The Peter Shit Show. Bum 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 bum. I'm calling my show the Peter Shit Show at the moment because once again, a week begins and I'm not ready for it. And this has been the theme for a good 4 or 5 weeks now, and I don't know what to do anymore. I got a class to teach at 10 in the morning, and I would record a quick video asking for a prayer. I know as soon as I get into the classroom and teach away, a lot of this resolves itself. But the weeks have been coming and going too quickly for me. I'm losing traction with the road of life, if you will, if I had to describe how I feel about all this. So, give you an idea. A lot of times by the time Friday afternoon rolls around, I'm too tired to enjoy the weekend, and the weekend just goes away. And you guys saw I recorded a couple videos during this week. Actually, strike that. I went back to look at the videos that I recorded this week, and I couldn't even remember recording them. That's how out of the zone I was. I'm not joking when I say that. And and then I'm not ready, and then I get into strife with everybody that I come into contact with. I just argued with one of my colleagues. I cannot get over an incident that happened with my colleague 3 weeks ago, and so every time I see him, I leave the office in disgust, just to mess with him. But he was still very nice to me, and that created a lot of conflict in my head. And so I screamed at him, "Oh, I'm so stressed. Please don't talk to me." And I stormed out of the office, and here I am right now. And I don't know what to do. It all started because I had misplaced my headphones one afternoon after a walk. And the following day, I was getting ready to go to my office. I had a bunch of papers to grade. I was planning on turning on some music. Evelina Falenta, second place winner of Polish Idol season one. And he shows up, and I can't do that, and I'm just upset. And I wanted to kill him. And and I had to contain all. What really sucks is I can't even tell him. Had it been something that he did wrong, imagine he brought something like really smelly fish right to the office, and I could point that out to him. Right? Imagine he something wrong that he of his doing that I could point out. Right? He I don't know. His pants were undone or something like that. Right? Or and unfortunately it wasn't even one of those things where I could say, hey, whatever, right? It was my doing, and so that created drama in my head, and now I can't get over that. And which really sucks because I really like to have that office just before the class to get ready for stuff, and I gotta see him. I'm gonna have to find out if there's other places I could sit down and set up. And But more importantly, the weeks are coming at me too fast. That's why I was proposing those 8-day weeks or 9-day weeks. Uh, and I'm so glad that I guess our next long weekend is during the Veterans Day, November 11th. Veterans Day has some significance to me as well. Back in 2010, on Veterans Day 2010 was when I first had 1,000 ounces of silver. They were all in loose coins and bars. They weren't in one giant bar, obviously. I had sworn that when I get to 1,000 ounces, I would go to the local coin dealer and see if I could trade it up for a big 1,000 ounce silver bar. It's about the size of a shoebox. I always had been fascinated by them when I was a kid. Well, on Veterans Day 2010, I finally hit that goal, but I never made the trade because I held a lot of sentimental value toward all of the small coins and bars that I had. I think the largest bar I had at that point was only 100 ounces. I had two of those. I had a bunch of 10-ounce bars and junk silver and some foreign silver coins as well, among other things. But altogether, I had 1,000 ounces of silver on Veterans Day 2010, and it turned out it would be another 4 years before I actually outright bought 1,000 ounce silver bar. Right now, I have three of them. I'm hoping to buy a fourth one later this year. History shows that when we start the interest rate cuts, soon after is when the big crash comes, right? The 2008 kind of crashes, the COVID kind of crashes. And I hope to go out and buy another 1,000 ounce silver. Maybe this Veterans Day. Who knows? I tend to buy a lot of metals every Veterans Day. Last year, it was, you guys know what other metal, right? And so I hope to do that. Um, when I have a ton of bismuth, I want to melt it into well, I already do have a ton of bismuth, but I hope to make Yamashita's treasure Buddha. I had a dream about this a couple nights ago. I dreamt that I had moved to the Philippines, and I had poured Buddha, and I was boasting about how I had found Yamashita's treasure. It was all fake, but I was boasting about it. And I had poured one out of polonium 210, and sure enough, soldiers came swarming into our home and took it. And the leader had put it into his bedroom or something like that. He didn't realize it was polonium 210, and he started to develop a cancer. And I was laughing at so that's the kind of prank that I love. That's the kind of prank I would love to do to somebody who causes an icy relationship like that colleague, right? So I would so much love to cause him drama, or maybe not kill him, but it caused him some embarrassment, right? So one thing I did when I was working at a different company at the time, and I had an icy relationship just like this with a colleague of mine, and this was back in the days when people still used landlines. Everybody had a phone on his desk. And one day, I came in on a Saturday and I changed his answering machine to something really silly. So instead of saying, "Oh, leave a message for Bob Johnson," it said, "Leave a message for dislike," or something like that. It wasn't dislike. I won't say what I said on here because I don't want him to recognize that it was me. And so he didn't realize that for several days he had colleagues call him, and maybe they were embarrassed to even tell him about it. He had clients call him, and for several days he had a cuss word on his answering machine. And having Kim Jong Un confiscate something that he thinks is gold but is actually killing him is just the kind of prank that I like. I don't know why. I and okay. I desperately need a couple of long weekends to reset my psyche. Everything is just out of control, and I hope. Uh, I hope this winter I get a chance to travel. I'd like to go to Taiwan, but part of the reason I haven't traveled to Taiwan is that I don't have solid connections here in the Phoenix area. I want to go to Taiwan, but make sure that when I come home, I have friends to come home to, right? So I kind of want to set that up first. But at the same time, stresses from not, strike that. Go to Taiwan first, and not worry about the friends, because stresses like that have made it difficult to network with people here in the U.S. as well. So maybe I need to change that up a little bit. Today after work, I'm going to go to the bank to get a couple boxes of pennies to make art out of. Why don't you guys pray that I find a coin worth $10,000? Because what I would do is I would that would free up myself to go eat at the student union every day and potentially network with people. Then I can forget about my colleague, right? And and talk to some other people that I like, or maybe I'll meet somebody else just like that and realize that my colleague is not the end of the world, right? So pray that when I go to the bank tonight to get a couple boxes of pennies, I find a penny worth $10,000, right? Uh, Pray that I get a chance to go to Taiwan. Pray that I acquire another big silver bar this Veterans Day, right? The price crashes and I go out to buy another Nelson silver bar. Pray that bismuth prices crash, right? I need to continue working on it. Pray that I find a way to pour that big Buddha out of bismuth, right? I hope to work with a few other metals as well. Pray that I find some way to make art out of some other metals. Find the right way to do it safely out of, among other things, lead, tellurium, thallium, um, uh, cadmium, and some of the radioisotopes, or maybe make something glow in the dark with radium or polonium 210, right? And also, oh, neptunium. Neptunium has a isotope that has a 2 million year half life. I'm hoping to collect. Believe it or not, smoke alarms have a radioisotope called americium 241. It decays into neptunium 237. I hope to gather a few billion expired smoke detectors and extract the neptunium out of them and make some art out of it, right? Uh, and pray that I find some alchemy to turn my bismuth into gold, right? So bismuth actually does turn into gold. It just takes an incredibly long period of time, right? So bismuth decays into thallium, but believe it or not, thallium 205 might also be radioactive. We just need to find a way to speed up. But here's the kicker: if we do find a way to turn bismuth into gold, it's likely that it would be a really bad idea because bismuth is actually useful and gold is only important because it's scarce, right? So why would you want to turn bismuth into gold? That's the funniest part of it all, right? All right. Pray for all of these. Pray that. Anyways, most importantly, pray that I get a chance to go to Taiwan this year. I've been putting off going to Taiwan for many years, in large part first because I was busy with my art projects. I was accumulating bismuth, and also because I want to make the right connections. I keep thinking about how am I going to go to Taiwan when I don't have any friends to come home to, but maybe that's not the right thinking. This is the Peter Shit Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Shit Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Shit Show. Bum 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 bum.